Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest in the Phase 3 Meet series. This week, I'm joined by the Managing Director and Executive Vice President of Zalaris, Will Jackson. Will, how are you?
All right, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yeah, very well. I said, don't start calling me sir. I'll start looking behind me to see if my dad's there. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. I know you're a very busy man. Let's start, as we always do, with an introduction to Zalaris and what it is you guys do.
Okay, so Zalaris do one of two things, actually. We are a traditional SAP system implementation partner, where we implement SAP HR and payroll success factors, and we also provide application support for those customers who use SAP. And the other side of the business, we are a HR and payroll outsourcing company, where we provide technology and transactional HR and payroll services in that pure BPO model.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I love that, you and I, or your business and Phase 3 could actually be seen as competitors. Not that we work in the SAP space, but, we certainly do payroll outsourcing, and yet we can still have a nice conversation like this. I think that's the way business should be conducted.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's very, very close to my kind of ethos, really, is the fact that we actually represent a community of people providing these services. And I think that's so key amongst us all, because we're all essentially, aiming for that same kind of level of service, customer satisfaction. And I think we should support each other as an industry, which is close to my heart, that one.
Excellent. And one thing that you've told me previously about your model at Zalaris, which I find really interesting, is that you don't have any traditional, what we call traditional salespeople.
Yeah.
And you kind of take the lead on that. So I'm just really interested where that kind of came from and what made you go down that route.
Yeah, and I mean, just my operational responsibilities is the UK, Ireland, and France. So where this may not be the same across the Zalaris group, across Europe, yeah, definitely it was something I wanted to do for more the UK market, because I felt that that's kind of what the UK market kind of needed. So whereas you're absolutely right, I don't have the traditional sales people. But I think more we don't have the traditional sales discipline washing through the business. What I've tried to do, I've worked on a client side more than I've been a supplier, so I've kind of felt that, and I've seen the result of that sometimes. And whilst I think some businesses benefit from that traditional sales model, I just felt actually in the UK, let's actually try something different. And the main aim was, I thought, well, let's, instead of run at our sales targets and our quarter numbers and our commission, I thought, actually, let's stop that and actually put it back to the customer and work to their timelines, and also not also really try and understand more what the customer wants. So I think everybody's a salesperson first and foremost. There's no doubt about that. Everybody is in one way representing a sell of some form. But I thought actually what I wanted to do was introduce the operational or the delivery people into that sales process, because I think for me it's about the relationship and also understanding what the customer needs or wants, or may think they need or want, but having the credibility to be able to advise as well throughout that process. So ultimately the customer gets exactly what they needed, rather than hitting a quota or a number and that's the and I'm not saying I wouldn't have salespeople in the business, but at the moment I'm really enjoying heading that process of business development up in Zalaris and really working with the clients and really getting close to them. And that for me has been our success, I think, in the last 18 months, 2 years for sure.
And do you feel like there's been times where you've kind of missed out by not having that traditional BD kind of function, if you like, or the traditional salesperson? Because I can see where it would have benefited you as well, but I'm just trying to get a balance.
Yeah, I mean, generally, the sales process comes down to, I suppose, price a lot of the time, and I think that's always something that we sometimes lose out on, is the fact that we're not the cheapest. But actually, again, that sometimes is questionable if that's the main driver for the client, is to just pick the cheapest. And I suppose, have I really missed out? I don't think we have on that. I don't think I feel proud of the business that we've won. I've also been proud of the business that we haven't won, in the sense that, you know, I know that we went in there with honesty and that kind of that integrity, that credibility that may not have suited the client because for whatever reason they chose something else. Does that kind of answer your question or not?
No, it does. Absolutely. I think, you know, saying no is just as important as saying yes, isn't it?
Yeah,
A lot of the times. And
I think that's for me. That's what it has to be. And again, when I was as a client, I always had a great respect for my suppliers and the supply chain, and also the relationship I had with them. And that's the kind of thing I've tried to bring back or bring into the business as a supplier. Yeah.
And my background is BD. You know, before I set phase 3 up, and even whilst I've been at phase 3, so I can see you're probably the big benefit of that model. I can see is that the projects that you win and deliver must be of a really good quality in terms of the scope and the whole discovery phase and this, that, and the other, because there isn't, and traditional salespeople will hate me for saying this, but that quota, that target isn't there to chop the price, to chop the number of days just to get the deal in.
Absolutely.
So therefore, then the quality of that project in terms of delivery.
And you actually avoid the sales phases that aren't great for us, like that kind of race to the bottom. You you can qualify whether an opportunity is suitable for each other a lot easier as well. And whilst I do have business development employees that work in the company, and they're great, and they handle a lot of our branding and our social medias and also the administrative function that sits behind a traditional sales function, like contracting and responses to tenders and RFPs and questionnaires. But yeah, as frontline sales, it's me and essentially my senior leadership team who are delivery people. Then the nice thing is, what you avoid is that grey area between sales and delivery, because actually your delivery people have worked, they've got close, they've understood the scope, they've actually been intrinsic to the contract that gets put in place. So actually, when it hands over to delivery, those people are still involved. And I think the feedback from definitely our new customers is, it doesn't feel like suddenly the team's gone and a new team's in, because they've actually been involved throughout the whole process. And so that it's become a really nice transition between sales and delivery.
Continuity is key there, isn't it? Absolutely.
It just seems to work for us, and our clients seem to be happy with that.
And that's what counts.
Yeah,
that's what counts. Happy customers. So let's split Zalaris into that kind of HR and payroll space that you mentioned there. You've been in the HR tech space a while now, on both sides, as you mentioned just now. What's been the kind of biggest positive change you've seen come out of HR during this period?
I mean, over the long term, what I've seen is that HR has put more of the I suppose the transactional responsibility into the employees and the managers. And I think that, for me, that traditional HR department where things went in and got processed and went out has reduced. So actually, it's put more of the transactional HR into employee self-service, manager self-service, and the technology has really enhanced that as well. So, I mean, all of the big kind of ERP players, or the HXM, HCM, however you want to call it, but all of the HR solutions that are out there are all really intuitive, self-intuitive. And also they've seen less pressure in that traditional kind of centralized HR function. So I think technology has played a real key piece. That seems to have really, a lot of obviously the cloud technology, even the kind of the digitalization, also the use of mobile technology, or mobile first technology, and also enabling people to do HR, quicker, more efficiently, and access more of the things they need in order to focus on essentially their core business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then on a payroll side of things, I know Zalaris obviously have a very big payroll presence, not just in the UK, but obviously, as you mentioned earlier, around Europe. I know you personally have been championing payroll for for a lot longer than it, recently become quite fashionable to do so, hasn't it? But I know you've been championing it for significantly longer than that. Where do you feel the payroll sector is heading now?
I think, I mean, without wanting to mention a recent pandemic that's been kind of affecting us all, I honestly think this has been, or this will be, as we look back, a real springboard for payroll. And I've said before around, the impacts of the financial crash that was, I think, 2008, 2009, that really raised the profile of finance in business. I think payroll, I think definitely the pandemic's helped raise the profile of payroll. A traditionally office-based function couldn't be. And I think the pressure a lot of clients and ourselves as well in mobilizing a home-based payroll function, where technology isn't necessarily the priority in payroll. I think there's been a lot of pain around that, and I think a lot of businesses have recognised that actually payroll isn't core to my business. It's not my core business, and so I think a lot of people are starting to recognise that payroll is a bit of a problem. And also do something about it. But equally as well, payroll's never been that glamorous, and I think that's the thing I've always kind of fought for. Is it's such a mission critical function in any business. It seems to be the silent thing that happens in businesses, and often I talk to people and I say, so what's payroll like in your business? They say, well, I don't know, I've never really thought about it. I just get paid at the end of the month, and there's a pay slip on a portal, and I think that's
why
the thing.
Do you think that was?
I don't know. I just,
or maybe even is in some cases still.
I did a talk recently on it, and I just think I think, like I say, payroll is one of those engines, and I think it all comes down to payroll people, which I think are amazing actually. I love anybody that works in payroll, and I have huge respect for them, and I think if you've ever worked in payroll, the processes that you're doing is so important to that employee. Payroll people don't take holidays at certain points of the month. It's like this unwritten rule, because that's payroll week, or that's the payroll processing period, and and also especially around when they're processing payroll, staff will just get the job done. And I think there's not enough noise about actually how stressful payroll can be sometimes. The idea of a payroll going out the door with any inaccuracy is just not something a payroll person can kind of live with. But again, it's just part of the job. And I think if I was to do anything, I'd just let every employee or every manager spend a month in a payroll department and just see, how. And they'll see all sorts of things. They'll see good things and bad things, but what they will see is really committed people. And I think that's the thing I want to raise up, is the fact that, these guys are so fundamental and they work so hard that we need some recognition and some investment in payroll.
Yeah, well, I think your passion for payroll certainly shines just as bright as the light that's actually on the payroll kind of industry at the moment as well. And I totally agree, and long may that continue. Absolutely crucial.
And whilst I'm working in payroll, I will continue to try and raise the profile of it and make it glamorous, because the biggest future problem with payroll, or challenge with payroll, is the next generation of people working in payroll. And there's a lot of companies are already seeing this and investing heavily into young people and careers and apprenticeships to get the next generation of payroll into payroll. And you can only do that if you make it glamorous. HR is very glamorous, but that's a relatively recent thing. Payroll needs to have its day, I think. Otherwise, there will be a resource shortage in coming years, because as most traditional payroll people retire or leave.
And from a kind of career point of view, you see a finance director, you see a HR director, never see a payroll director, because traditionally payroll is sat in HR or in finance.
Yes, absolutely.
And so does it need its own payroll is payroll?
Yeah, so some would argue that it should sit in finance because it's a financial kind of function, and some would argue it should sit in HR because it's a people function. I think carving it out might work in some organizations, especially large organizations that have maybe a multi-country footprint.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely needs a voice at a senior leadership kind of level, if not a board level. Because again, if anyone's ever worked in an organization where payroll hasn't gone right, it's not a great situation for any HRD, CFO, CEO, anyone to be in.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it probably needs, because I think the board need to understand the risks in payroll, because often there are a lot of risks in it through either weak technology or manual processing or poor integration. So those risks are not necessarily known, and I think that's definitely, by raising that profile, it would give the board the awareness so that they can at least have a strategy of investment or digital transformation involved in that.
Absolutely. And Zalaris, then, before we move on to the quick fire stuff, what does the future hold for you guys, kind of UK wide and kind of globally as an organization?
Yeah, and I mean, Zalaris have been established. They're headquartered in Oslo, Norway, listed in Norway, and over the last 21 years, they've seen a massive, uninterrupted kind of growth year on year, and that's not showing any slowing down really. I think we made several acquisitions, one being in the UK, which is my former company, and in Germany as well. And so Zalaris are expanding across that kind of Europe footprint. We always try and be present in the countries where our customers are. But I think for the future as well, we're in a great market in the UK, if I want to speak about the UK. Also in Europe, we're seeing a lot of companies in the UK adopting that outsourcing model for that first time. And obviously that's very interesting for us. And also digitalization of their HR from the other side of the business through implementations and support. And we're also seeing a lot of international companies who have complexities in European payroll, which it traditionally is very complex, coming to Zalaris and asking around our People Hub concept, which is essentially providing one platform for multi-country payroll. That seems to be really getting a lot of interest. We've been speaking to a lot of potential clients recently about that, and also a lot of our new clients are in that situation as well. So for us, it's really exciting. We have a kind of great ethos in the company, a great team, and I think we all seem to be running really well in our geographies at the moment. And I think it's just going to be more growth. It may be more acquisitions, and it'd be great to see that the Zalaris growing significantly over the next 3 years, and I think that will happen.
Exciting times ahead then.
It is. It's a great place. It's a great place to work, and actually it's about the people in Zalaris. It's a great. We have a great kind of group of people that really do all run in the same direction, and that's really nice to be around.
Fantastic. Well, if anyone's watching this, then they want to get in contact with Will or with Zalaris, then jump on the website. Will, you're quite active on social media and LinkedIn in particular. So feel free. I say feel free to contact you. It's not me should be saying that, but if they want to contact you,
absolutely. But I'm pretty easy to find. So yeah, you Google my name and Zalaris at the end, and there's all sorts of contact details on the website or LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Cool. Okay, let's move on to some of these more fun, light-hearted questions. Not that talking about Zalaris wasn't fun, of course, but you know what I mean. So right, here we go. What did you eat for breakfast this morning?
I didn't.
Shock, horror. Why? Are you not a breakfast man?
Not really. No. Not really. No.
So do you just start with like a coffee or something or tea or literally nothing?
Definitely, I always start with a few coffees maybe, and then try not to drink any coffee later than mid-morning really, because otherwise I think it just keeps me a bit too wired all day. But I'm a kind of a lunch and an evening meal kind of guy, I think, really.
Okay. Well, on that same topic, what is your favorite food?
Oh, right. Okay. Are you talking desert island food?
Any food, your favorite meal.
I love sushi. I love Asian cuisine. So I think that would be my go-to every time. Yeah, definitely. And the poke bowls that you can get at the moment, I think they're fantastic. But sushi, I think, must be my all-time favorite. And anything in teriyaki sauce is just absolute win.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we should put some teriyaki sauce on Weetabix. You might get yourself some
Oh,
breakfast.
no.
Okay. Well, what's your absolute dream job?
Right.
And you can't say MD of Zalaris.
Well, yeah. My dream job. I would love to be. This might just throw you off a little bit, but I'd love to be a professional darts player.
Oh,
Didn't
okay.
see that one coming, did you?
Okay, we're opening you up a little bit now, aren't we? Slowly.
Yeah,
So you're into your darts, yeah?
I have I don't. Yeah, didn't choose it. I had a rugby background. I played a lot of golf, and then I worked with a guy who's always been better than me, and I kind of got into darts, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I love watching it, and I love playing it. So,
Yeah. Are you good? Are you good at it?
I'm not not as good as the guy who got me into it. I won't mention who he is because he's got a big enough head as it is. But yeah, I'm not bad. I can hold my own. We've had a couple of darts events through the company, and if I were out socially with the guys that we work with, or some friends, if we can have a go at the darts, then generally I clean up quite well. So
Very good. Okay. And then again, similar kind of topic, but what sport would you compete in the Olympics? I don't think darts is in the Olympics, is it? Pretty sure it isn't.
it could be. Maybe we should raise the profile of darts.
Yeah, along with payroll.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I think I might have just had a connection issue there. I might have just missed the question.
Okay. So what sport would you compete in the Olympics?
I was a pretty quick runner when I was young. I was a winger, so I think a very tall winger, admittedly, but I think I'd have to do the 100 meters.
100 meters. Okay, cool.
Not now, obviously.
Not now. I did it.
Stop
I did it
halfway.
a couple of years ago. It wasn't 100 meters. It was probably about 50 meters at my kids' sports day.
Yeah.
And my wife recorded it, and I watched it back, and it was the slowest thing you've ever seen.
But at the time,
It was like slow motion. At the time, I thought I was like, my God, Usain Bolt's younger brother. And I used to be quite reasonably rapid as well, actually, quite fast, quite pacey when I was younger. It's just all gone to pot now, mate. I tell you, isn't it?
I have a shot put, just maybe at the moment. Maybe that I mean, maybe running that quick isn't my thing, but yeah.
Okay. And if you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would it be?
Now, see, I've been fortunate in previous roles and this one to have travelled a lot. So I'm stuck between going back somewhere or going somewhere new. And I think what I might do is I might go back somewhere, and I would probably go to Vietnam for a year.
Ooh, okay, Vietnam. I've never been, but I know a few people who have, and they kind of nobody that I know that's been to Vietnam came back and said I didn't like it.
No, it's not only beautiful, but I mean culturally, it's just yeah. And I spent quite a lot of time there when I was a lot younger than I am now, and yeah. So I think I'd probably camp out in Saigon for a good or Ho Chi Minh City.
Wow.
So, and then I think what I'd probably do is drift up the coast like I probably did last time, but I'd take a long time doing it this time. Yeah.
Is that where the love of the kind of Asian cuisine comes from as well?
Oh, yeah, probably. I'd spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia. I actually travelled a lot of it on a motorbike, especially Vietnam.
Wow, living the dream.
Yeah. So yeah, one of my keen hobbies, I think, that is motorcycling. So yeah, I think I'd do that again, but I'd probably not do it on such the budget that I did it last time. I think I'd just maybe up it a little bit.
Yeah. A few 5-star hotels along the way.
Just every now and then, just to straighten myself out. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then final question, Will, as we approach Christmas, what's your favourite Christmas song?
I'm trying to think of all the ones my wife doesn't sing really badly.
Is she going to watch this?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'll definitely dissuade her from doing so. I think I quite like Leona Lewis's Is It One More Sleep?
Sure that.
I'm not even going to try and sing it.
I'm not. That's the next question. Have a sing the song. No, it's not.
Definitely not.
It's not. Okay. I don't think I know that one.
You will do. It'll come on and you'll never unhear it. Or I'd take. It's got to be Mariah Carey then, maybe. I think All I Want for Christmas. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Well, no doubt that's good. It's our, well, this is actually going to be going out later, but it's our Christmas party coming up soon.
Oh, brilliant.
So God knows what's going to happen. But we obviously didn't have one last year. So Mariah, I'm sure, will be playing in the background at some point, along with Wham and everyone else. Bit of Band-Aid going on. But excellent. Will, thank you so much for your time. Honestly, I've really enjoyed recording this short kind of film. It's not a film, but you know what I mean. The recording with you. And yeah, guys, like I said earlier, if anybody wants to get in touch with Will or with Zalaris, look on the website, get in touch with them, have a check on phase 3, follow us both, and we'll see you all for the next episode. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for having me. Cheers.